Okay, so welcome to the next episode of the Path Less Chosen pod, the podcast showing you the careers they don't teach you about in school. So today we have Lara, who is an online fitness and mindset coach. She's helped loads of people with their fitness and mindsets already. She's moved to Bali and all of that has been done, and she's only 21. So I think a really exciting guest to have on. Jamie, what are you excited to learn about Lara today?
I think it definitely strikes me as an industry I don't really have a clue about, and the stuff that she's doing seems quite unique from stuff I've seen out there on social media. So definitely interested, particularly at her age, into how she got into it and how she found a niche in that kind of competitive industry. So I think it should be some good content.
Spot on. Okay, let's get on with the guest. So Lara, just kicking off, your path less chosen is as an online fitness and mindset coach. Tell us a bit about what you're up to right now.
Okay, hello. So I'm actually quite excited for this podcast. I can't lie. Thank you for having me on here. I've never done a podcast before. At the moment, where I'm at in my life is I have actually just picked up my life from being in Sydney, Australia, and moving to Bali. I didn't really have any sort of plan when I decided to make that leap. I had done a few different bits of solo travel over the last year and a bit. Fell in love with it, went to Bali a couple of times and decided, you know what, let's just give living in Bali a bit of a crack. And after coaching for 2 years in person, I decided let's try this whole online thing as well.
Just to go into a bit more detail then, how many kind of clients are you working with at the moment? What programs are you offering? What does it look like?
I'm working with 15 clients at the moment, which is a perfect number for me. And in terms of the kind of work that we do, when it comes to training related coaching containers, I focus mainly on strength training, but at the same time, I'm a huge advocate for having a certain level of fitness in just all round, I guess, and just promoting that a little bit more rather than just focusing on just strength or just weight loss or just running, just having a bit of a broader approach to it. But again, it's just tailored to whatever my client feels is needed for them and what their goals are. And then in terms of the mindset side of things, I focus mainly on building confidence, because that's a big area where people struggle, building their relationship with themselves, mending their relationship with their body, and also with food. That's a big topic as well, and just diving into that, I guess.
So I'm interested to go back to the start then. Where did the path less chosen begin? Tell us a bit about growing up in Australia and what led you to this now.
Initially, when I was growing up, I was very confused as to what I wanted to do with my life. I actually, when I was in school, was kind of choosing between interior design or potentially a vet and business studies. And obviously I'm doing absolutely none of those things right now, but it was always this constant pressure when I was in school to know what it is that I wanted to do for the rest of my life at the age of 17 when I graduated. And just this whole idea that uni and getting a degree was the be all or end all. You need to kind of fit into that bubble and also make my parents proud. That was a massive thing. They had both done degrees. That's kind of part of their version of success. So it was a very confusing time in terms of working out what it was that I wanted to do. And I ended up falling into the world of health and fitness when I was 15. And this is where it does get a little bit heavy, but I'm like, where do I start with this? I haven't actually spoken about this on social media before. I found comfort in the gym at a time in my life where I lost the person closest to me. I had actually lost my mum to suicide, so it is a very heavy subject, and shit just hit the fan at home, to be honest. I felt so abandoned, so inadequate, so unlovable. It's nothing that a 15-year-old should have to feel. And losing a parent in that way, you have so many questions. And at that time, I actually took on a lot of that blame because I think it was a week or maybe a week and a half prior to her taking her life. You know, you have your little arguments with your parents. It's normal. You go through those things. But I had this I was going through this huge rebellious phase. And I wasn't a bad kid, but I was going through this huge rebellious phase where my friend was throwing her 16th birthday and I wanted to drink. I had never drank before. And I brought it up to my parents and I was like, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I want to drink. Like, all my friends are drinking at this party. I just want to tell you so that you're aware of it, you know, just be real transparent about it. They blew up at me. I grew up in a Catholic household. They blew up. My parents don't drink. So anyway, they told me I couldn't. So I did the exact opposite. And I went behind their back. And me and my best friend at the time, we downed an entire 700 ml vodka within a 45-minute time frame, 15-year-old girls, because we didn't understand how much our body could handle, like how to drink. Oh, we couldn't feel it yet, so let's just drink more. And I ended up in an ambulance that night, foaming at the mouth. And I don't remember. My recollection of that night is based on everybody else's views of it. So yeah, I ended up on a drip, and all I could remember the next day was just my mother's disappointment. She cared so much about, obviously, yes, me, but her. The first thing that she was saying is, you've disgraced yourself. What is everyone going to think of you? All of this, right? So and she had a conversation with one of her friends saying, where did I fail as a parent, right? And I only found this out a couple years ago. And yeah, so bit of a tangent, but that happened. Then a week and a bit later, or 2 weeks later, whatever it was, she ended up taking her life. And that just absolutely broke me. Absolutely broke me. I felt like it was my fault. And going through that, my family kind of also fell apart. Dad, bless him, he's like my best friend, but my dad at the time, he just crumbled. And it's like, when you're a teenager, your parents are supposed to be a rock. Your mum's meant to love you through everything, right? But if my mum couldn't even hang around, like, she didn't even love me enough to hang around, then who else would? So I felt very unlovable. So it kind of left me with all the responsibility. I didn't really have any time to process and to sit back and grieve and recognize what had been done, like what had happened. And I just went straight back into partying. I went to a concert the next weekend. I went into working, so I ended up supporting my family because my dad wasn't working at the time. He just completely mentally checked out. And I have a younger sister as well, so it's kind of like became mum overnight. And that was okay because I was happy to take that on at that time, but it was full steam ahead and I didn't really have a chance to process what the hell had just happened. But I'm coming full circle to this. The gym is the 1 hour of the day where I found my own time and my own peace of mind. It was like, oh, in this 1 hour, I know that everything that I do is going to benefit me. It's for me. Because everywhere else in my life, I'm running around for other people, making sure everybody else is good, all these other things. The gym was the one area where I could be like, yeah, let me just mentally check out for a second. But then I got really fucking good at it. I got really strong unintentionally. Unintentionally. And I just grew a passion for it from there. And this is where it kind of all started because I found the gym to be the one thing in my life that gave me a little bit of purpose and it made me feel good. I don't know, the gym was like this weird mental thing of like, oh, you put the reps and the sets in, Lara, like you can get good at something. And that just became my piece of evidence that I am capable of doing more. And it kind of just grew from there. I was like, I want to give that to other people. Like, I want to show them that they're capable of doing more and that they can find a little bit more purpose in their life and feel good about themselves and do something for themselves that doesn't actually revolve around other people. So yeah, that was a long answer, but here we are.
Wow, obviously incredible story, and for the first time sharing it, I thought that was brilliant and very good of you to share it with us. And you touched on it, you know, that week after you went to that concert straight away, it could have been so easy after something like that to just keep going down that pathway. So I think it's incredible, and it's an amazing thing that you found it within yourself to actually start thinking, well, let's find something that I love doing, which was the gym. But then not just that, but from an unselfish point of view, that you then were like, well, how can I inspire other people to do it as well? So yeah, good on you for that. And I guess the next step then from after you discovered that love and that passion was, how did you actually then go about doing it? What were the next steps to, especially at still quite a young age, how did you then turn that into something that, okay, I can now start coaching people, I'm going to start my own thing and I can do this for a living?
While I was still in school, so as I said, I started when I was 15. While I was still in school, I was just study gym, didn't really think too much about it. Then I decided in uni I wanted to do sport and exercise science just because I thought I needed a degree. And I did that for a year full time. Then in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, I want to be a coach. I want to be a PT. This is something that I want to do, but I never felt good enough. So I actually dropped out of my sport and exercise science degree, went into nursing because nursing is something else that I was a bit interested in. Did nursing for 6 months. Then COVID happened and I was like, okay, let's defer. I don't want to do this online. Then I ended up enrolling into, I don't know what you guys call it, but I enrolled into my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. And I did that while lockdown was going on. Filmed a bunch of embarrassing videos for assignments at home and forced my friends
We'll be in there, don't worry.
I forced my friends to be a part of it. And then I got work experience at Anytime Fitness. Then before I actually finished my work experience, they offered me a job there. And I was like, oh, personal training was supposed to be a side hustle. I was going to go back to nursing once lockdown was over. Then it kind of all just took off.
So when was the step into being like, this, I'm good at this, I need to start turning this into my own business, I need to do this myself?
I don't think there was really a single point in time. So I built my business and I operated as my own business whilst being at Anytime Fitness. Is that what you're referring to? Or when I broke away from Anytime Fitness?
I guess, yeah, when you broke away.
Okay, so I was at Anytime Fitness for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't remember, to be honest with you. And I felt like I had done all the growing that I needed to and learnt what I needed to from the people that I was working with. Honestly, I got bored. I really notice this about myself. I get bored when routine becomes too routine and there's not something new for my mind to grab onto. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm actually not wanting to go to work. How can I spice this up a little bit? And then that's when I decided to do online on the side of in-person coaching and offer that to some of my clients. Just be like, hey, how would you feel about me writing an online program with you rather than just me seeing you once or twice a week? And then that kind of started on the side. Then once I got completely over the gym that I was at, I wanted to put myself into rooms with people who are doing more. Bless them all. I absolutely love every single human being that I worked with in that time and all the clients that I had while I was there. Yeah, I wanted to work with people who had a bit more experience in expanding their business and, you know, have conversations with them, see what they're doing. And I think also being exposed to so many different podcasts where I was seeing and hearing about people who are doing these bigger things with their life and with their business. And I kind of viewed that as, oh, if they can do it, then why should I not do it?
So you touched on it there, talking about rooms and environments. I did some Instagram stalking, of course, in preparation for this, and I saw that you said in, I think it was June last year, you went to. I will. I don't think I have yet.
I was like, oh,
I will. I will. We'll cut that bit out. In hindsight, yes. Anyway, on from I think it was June last year, you said something about you went to Melbourne, I don't know how to say it properly, but surrounded yourself with people there. So I wanted to go into a bit of detail about that and how important it is, especially going into whether it's on the business side of things or on specifically the fitness side of things. How do you go about surrounding yourself with the right people to learn how to do this stuff and improve your own business from a selfish point of view as well?
I had a mentor who was not actually officially a mentor, but he kind of was. And I thought that was really cool. He was a coach of mine that I looked up to at that time. And we had a few like coffee dates, just talking about how I wanted to expand my business, what my vision was, because he was an owner of a gym as well. He was the first mentor I had. Then felt like that really wasn't aligned with what I was looking for per se. Then I invested into another mentor, was with him for about 6 months. Got a lot out of it, but didn't quite feel like he was my person. And then I stumbled on my mentor that I have been with now for a year. And it has been the biggest game-changing thing for me, is just having somebody in my corner who isn't biased. Like, she isn't telling me what to do. She helps me figure out what it is that I want to do based on my experiences, my beliefs, and what I know to be true for me. And it has been really, really cool to have somebody in my corner in that capacity.
It's so interesting that you say that, because I feel, I don't know if I speak for just me, but potentially the thoughts of a lot of people back in the UK and maybe all over the world is why would you invest in a coach? There's a bit of a stigma around it. Would you say even investing personal money into it is worth it? And why do you think that stigma maybe exists?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question, and there absolutely is a stigma around it, and people being sold a dream and it pretty much being a load of shit. I well and truly do believe that everybody deserves to give themselves the opportunity to have somebody that is in their corner, in their life, in a way that is elevating them to some degree. So I think the biggest thing in this is differentiating between the fact that investing your money into something is not the same as actually taking action. Of course, it's a waste of your money just throwing it at someone and expecting them to do the work for you. Of course, mindset coaching isn't going to work. Of course, the meal plan is not going to work. Of course, you're going to blame your PT for your lack of results if you're behind the scenes engaging in all these leaky habits that are not serving you or the outcome that you desire. That doesn't make sense. So, of course, there's going to be this massive stigma around it. But more than that, I think it's not just about investing into the thing. It's also who you choose to invest into. And this is where I think the big problem comes in, is because a lot of coaches will sell to you what worked for them, but what worked for them might not work for you. And as well as that too, the intention of the coach is huge as well. You just another number to them, another sale to them, or do they actually give a fuck? And that's going to create a massive difference with regards to your outcomes. Yeah, there's that side to it, but then there's also the other side to it where there's a lot of success that comes into investing your time, energy, and money into these things, and it's just up to you to actually take action and to implement the things that are being thrown at you. I'm
a sucker for quotes, and I saw one on your Instagram which was about not doing the thing you're supposed to for success if it's not your own version of success. For any listeners, how could they apply that message to pursuing their passion and their career that they want to do, rather than going down the route that they're supposed to out of university, for example?
Again, I think it just comes back to working out what is important to you and really just paying attention to the way you feel when you're conversing with certain people, when you're in certain friendship groups. After seeing this person, does it make you feel more energized, more alive, or does it make you feel depleted and shit? Say if you don't enjoy a good chunk of your day, I would say maybe reassess that and see what it is in your life that does actually make you excited. Is there a way for you to implement that into your work? And if not, maybe go ahead and do the thing, take the leap. Worst comes to worst, you go back to your job.
I think that's such a good quote, and definitely on that line of the fuck it's that you were speaking about earlier, just deciding to go fuck it and doing something. I remember you saying Bali was a bit of a fuck it moment when you just thought you'd up sticks and move to Bali. So is that one of a good example of maybe touch on a few more that you've gone, fuck it, I'm doing that and going off somewhere?
I think this even can go back to the question that Jamie asked just about, what would I say to people who are, wanting to pursue this thing of theirs? The reality is that your world and your life can change in a split second. And I learned that at a very young age. 1 minute, my mum was in the picture and everything was all good. And it was a very unexpected event like that. Your life and everything that you know to be true today is not guaranteed tomorrow. And people put this thing that they want to do off. I don't know about you, but when I am on my deathbed, I do not want to look at my life and go, oh, I wish I did this. That is not a question that I want to be asking. So that's where this whole fuck it mentality came from for me. And it's been the best thing because I also grew up seeing my mum. She was very reserved. My mum was a very reserved person, she wanted to do all these things, and she said that she wanted to travel and whatever it might be, but she never took risks. She never took the leaps. She always put herself on the back burner for other people, making sure that everybody else is all good around her, and never got around to doing the things that she actually loved. I don't even know what my mum liked. Yeah, she just never did things for her. It was always for other people. So just seeing her be very reserved and not take charge of her life and the opportunities that she missed out on, I'm like, you know what? I feel like I want to do this for her. So, and for me, of course, but something that she didn't get to do, let me do it for me and bring her along with me because she's always with me. So fuck it decisions. One of them was to drop out of uni, obviously, when my business was it did take off, but I wasn't quite solid in it yet. It was just doing good for a period of time. I had a feeling it was going to do better. And I was just like, fuck it. If I need the degree later, great, I can come back to it. My family didn't really have too much to say on it, but here we are, so that's all right. I also, my first, I would say biggest fuck it decision was when the first time I came to Bali, actually. I was with a group of people at the time. It was a shit show. The couples broke up within a couple of days of us being there. And so I was like, fuck it. I wanted to do a solo trip to begin with. Yeah, I went to this beach bar and saw this other girl who was like by herself. I ended up meeting her and she was like, why don't you just extend your flights instead and come with me and I can show you what the hostel experience is like. And I was like, okay, fuck it. So I ended up canceling my flights and pushing them back, and I ended up meeting some really cool people, had such a great experience, and now I will be friends with her for life. She ended up staying with me in Australia, but had I not been like, fuck it, speak to this girl, I wouldn't have made that connection. I wouldn't have had that experience.
Well, I wanted to ask a bit about like how you do the switching off and separating the work from the career. You mentioned a bit of flexibility that you have there just by being clear with clients, but something I've always questioned about the fitness industry, I guess, away from normal industry, is that from outsiders looking in, from someone who posts their fitness through Instagram, for example, there's a lot of, do you feel there's a lot of pressure because you have to live this perfect life where you're constantly being healthy and sticking to your routine?
This is something that I used to struggle with massively, and my health went on the decline for it when I first got into coaching. The minute that I started to be real honest and not chat shit, just real honest, and express to my clients the things that I actually was going through, I actually established a better relationship with them. And they gained more respect for me, but also by me shedding light onto some of the struggles that I have been through, they actually opened up more about what it was that they were going through because they felt safe to do so. They didn't feel the need to put on this facade of trying to impress me or be perfect, because they understand I'm a human being as well. I don't want my clients to look at me and think I'm a fucking robot. I'm a human being. I like to go out and party from time to time. I'm allowed to have a drink. I'm allowed to go and have some ice cream on the weekend with my friends. It's not a big deal. So that is something that really took some time to break down and be okay with. But again, it was just a matter of me asking me, would I work with me? And at the time, the answer was no. And that bugged me.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating because, like I say, as an outsider looking in on the fitness industry, I always imagine that was probably the biggest challenge. But I think it's amazing that you've got this like self-awareness that, you struggle with that for a bit, but clearly you're at a point now where you overcome it, and actually it's probably improved the services you're providing because it's a much more realistic ideal for your clients. So then moving on slightly, but along the same theme, for someone who's maybe thinking about going into the fitness industry in some kind of capacity, what are the other bigger challenges that someone like me looking from the outside wouldn't know about in that industry that you face?
I think the biggest one that I didn't actually realize, and no one really tells you this, I think it's becoming a little bit more known now, but if you, for example, want to be a PT, you're not just a PT. If you're wanting to go out on your own, you're also doing all the bookkeeping, you're your own accountant, you're doing the marketing, all that sort of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And there's a lot of like hidden little fees like insurance and all of these other things that you just don't think about, subscriptions to the softwares that you use and scheduling apps and whatever it is. I did not realize what it came with and how that actually chews into your time.
So I guess finishing off really, or where do you see your business, the coaching in the next 5-10 years? What are your grand plans? Where do you plan on going, or do you have no idea?
Being totally honest, I didn't even expect to be where I am right now. I was not supposed to move to Bali. I was not meant to be in Bali at this time in my life. So to be honest with you, I am just going with the flow. But in terms of a vision, I do have a vision as to what it is I want to keep doing more of. And I do see the mindset aspect of my business growing, because I feel like that work is very valuable and it's something that moved the needle for me in a big way in my life. Had I not invested in mindset coaching or personal development or mentorship, I would not be in the place that I am today, and I want to be able to give people that same opportunity. So I do see that expanding and growing. And in terms of where I'll be, I have no idea if I will still be in Bali or if I'll be in another country or back home. Undecided, but I would like to be running in-person retreats at some stage. I don't know when, don't know exactly what it would look like, but I just know that that's something that I want to do, and just bringing more of the girls together, I think, because connection is a big thing that I think we're lacking a lot of in our world today, and I want to start to create a little bit more to that, or like add to that, I guess.
Well, we'll have to get you on there in 10 years' time, and you can tell us all about the personal
10 years.
retreat. And yeah. So then, just to finish off, then the same question that we ask all our guests. So if you were just to go right back to the start, when you feel like that path less chosen first began, we just want to know one thing you do the same, one thing you do differently, and one thing you tell yourself to motivate yourself.
One thing that I would do the same is invest my time, energy, money into podcasts and books and mentorship, coaches, all that sort of stuff. I feel like that really accelerated my growth to a big degree. one thing I would do differently is not go to uni, just because everybody told me to go to uni. Right now, being honest, the first thing that came to mind is get your shit together, bitch. Being honest, that I would say to myself. But if I'm going to be inspirational, I would say, would you tomorrow be proud of the things that you did today? Or would you, in a week's time, be proud of the things that you do today? Or you in a year's time, would she be proud of the things that you do today? And I think that's probably the most inspirational I'm going to get. So
I like get your shit together, bitch. I think I like that.
I thought it's balance. We'll put two quotes in there. Good balance.
Just being honest. I'm just being honest. That is what I tell myself.
That's
absolutely.
Funny. Oh well, I think that was a spot on ending for what's been, I think, an unbelievable episode. And you're 21, right? I'm right in saying you're 21.
Yes. Why are we promoting that for? I do appreciate it, though. It will be interesting to see where I am in 10 years' time, because, as I said, I just feel like it's too much to think that far ahead. So, yeah, just going with it.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, I thought that was brilliant from Lara. Good of you to bring a good guest onto the pod finally, Sol. I think that'll be good to have that out there. So we, as we always do, to take away 3 takeaways, and there was a lot of content and information that she gave us there. So I think it'll be tricky. But is there anything that immediately stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the first thing that was cool that she said was the fuck it mentality. That literally deciding when she's not really sure about something, going fuck it and doing it. And I think that holds a lot of people back in doing things because of taking that 3, 2, 1 moment. And clearly she can look back at it and say most, if not all, of the things that she's done have not been necessarily well calculated risks, but kind of fuck it moments.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a good point. I can't really argue with that. It was a key theme of what she said, and just her attitude, particularly at her age, to just embrace anything that's unknown or uncertain. And she goes flying straight at it and enjoys it by the sound of it. So I thought that was quite impressive. Then secondly, I think something I quickly picked up on was just how self-aware she was. Like, self-awareness, I guess, is a big thing when you're trying to decide what career you want to go into and things like that. But the way that she's just known that stuff that she can do that will benefit the output that she has in her career, things like investing in herself, in mentors, in traveling the world. I thought that was very impressive.
Spot on. Yeah, I still can't believe. I remember speaking to her and she's saying it really annoys her when people say she's 21, but it's actually ridiculous that she's got that maturity at the age of 21. It's pretty impressive, I think. And then I guess we potentially. I mean, let me throw out my third one. I think neither of us will disagree that she said some pretty moving stuff about her mum and how that affected her. So I think maybe the takeaway from that for everyone else would be the letting negative things and catastrophic things in her case not negatively affect you, and even being a motivator for doing things and affecting things in a good way. So I put something out there. I don't know if you could really disagree with that after the reasoning behind it, but that would be my thought as the third takeaway. I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
No, absolutely. I think for me, it was definitely that kind of the facing adversity, because I'm sure that anyone listening would definitely be able to pinpoint in life where, maybe there was some difficulties perhaps, and hopefully not as extreme as that. But the way that she spoke about it in literally the week after, she was going to these concerts and drinking again, which was the exact thing she kind of worried about, which had happened recently as well, was something that could have easily then teetered into her just going down that route. And instead, and I said it in my question to her after that, it was just amazing how she not only developed a selfish motivation from that she found a love for the gym through that adversity, but then also a selfless one where she was like, actually, I can use this to help other people because it was providing me that happy space and a little bit of respite. Then I can do it for others and I can benefit them, which I thought was pretty amazing. So yeah, the way she turned that into a career.
Okay, so I think we agreed on those ones. So yeah, the first one being that fuck it mentality to doing things that scare you a little bit. The second one, which is that self-awareness to investing in yourself and knowing what you need to do to get better. and that last one being adversity and how to use it to benefit you and benefit others.
Beautifully summed up, I think.
Thanks very much, everyone, for listening, and catch you on the next episode.
You're just going to leave me to do the awkward line where I tell everyone to follow and subscribe?
Yeah, I think they'll have done that already, don't worry.